More on the story now and speak to Dr. Syed Mohammed Randi of the University of Tehran. Dr. Marandi, thank you so much for joining us. Now, the Manas Air Base was set up in Kyrgyzstan to fight terrorists in Afghanistan. But if today's claims are true, it means it's also helping terrorists in Iran. So do you think it's fair to say that Washington has its good and its bad terrorists?
Yes, I think it's quite obvious that the United States is being very hypocritical. They were not only supporting this particular terrorist organization, but they were also supporting the MEK for many years. They've carried out many thousands of terrorist attacks in Iran over the last 3 decades, as well as other terrorist groups such as PJAK and so on. What is extraordinary about this particular terrorist organization that has the backing of the United States is that they carry out some of the most brutal murders. They cut people's heads off on television, and it doesn't get any coverage on the BBC or CNN or in the New York Times, which is itself pretty extraordinary. But the murders that they've carried out have angered Iranians for the last few years. And it was a major victory for the Iranian intelligence organizations that they were able to capture the leader and his deputy the other day.
Now, what's been the reaction in Iran to these claims?
Well, it's well known that the United States is supporting different terrorist organizations. After all, for example, the MEK, or the Mujahideen Khalq, as they like to call themselves, they have offices throughout Europe and the United States under different names. But these are the same people who worked for Saddam Hussein during the Iraq-Iran war. And they spied for Saddam and carried out attacks in Iran. Now they're throughout Europe, and they have offices. They're officially there. They have government support. They meet government ministers, and they also meet MPs in different European countries as well as in the United States. So for the Iranians, this is nothing new. What is significant is the way in which they were able to capture this particular terrorist, and the way in the sort of horrific way in which they the spectacular and horrific attacks that they carried out on innocent people, that is what really made him an eye-catcher in Iran.
Now, Dr. Marandi, let's talk about the wider international diplomatic ramifications of all this. When Barack Obama came to power, there were real hopes for renewed dialogue with Iran. And is there now still a window of opportunity, or has it been firmly slammed shut for good, do you think?
Well, I think that the United States has continued the policies of the previous administration, and Obama, therefore, is responsible. After all, when American intelligence organizations support terrorist groups and they kill Iranians, that means that the American government and American government officials have blood on their hands. If the Obama regime really wishes to improve relations with Iran, or if they wish to gain Iran's support to move forward to resolve some of the issues, first and foremost, they have to stop killing Iranians, and especially innocent Iranians. These are, of course, policies that began before Obama, but at the end of the day, the current administration has to stop subversive operations against the people of Iran. And it is not only military operations that are being carried out. The Americans have tens of Persian television stations that are being funded by the American government that call for violence, many of them. There are many websites in Persian that are funded by the U.S. government that are speaking of overthrowing the Islamic Republic. And the irony is that after all these attempts over the last few months, you see that in the recent pro-Islamic Republic rally on the anniversary of the revolution, millions of people came out just in Tehran alone, and tens of millions of others throughout the country. So if effectively, the United States has been completely unsuccessful in moving the Iranian people away from the Islamic Republic.
Okay, Dr. Marandi, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there, but many thanks for that. That was Dr. Syed Mohammed Marandi live from